Sam Opeche, and I'd like to welcome you to my weekly broadcast on the marriage workshop. At the marriage workshop, our goal is building intimate marriage relationship, and that's why I have decided to do this weekly broadcast to bring you wisdom, knowledge, information from my book. Don't get married until you're single. Don't get married until you're single. You know, as an author, I'm really encouraged by the reception that I have been getting so far with this book. This book was launched on the 28th of January 2018, but it's doing really well. It's already affecting the lives of a sizable number of people, like I keep saying. And I'm really encouraged. In fact, my publisher sent out, contacts to a number of professional bloggers, authors, librarians, writers and people who are involved one way or another in writing and giving reviews. And I am so encouraged by what they have said about this book. In fact, let me read out one of the reviews. There are several of them, but I'm just going to read out one to give you an idea of what professional reviewers are saying. This is from a librarian, and she says, "I could write pages about what the book is about and his excellent theories, but you would be better to read the book. If you are unhappily single," she goes on to say, "or unhappily married, you will love this book." She said, "Read this book. I guarantee that it will be a source of blessing to you." And she ended by saying, "I already pre-ordered it for my hubby and me to have as our already growing bookshelf." That's from a librarian who my publisher contacted to review the book. So it's been very encouraging for me what professional reviewers are saying. In fact, I was also contacted by quite a prominent website called Female First, and they asked me to do an article on 10 reasons why you must be single at one point in your life. And I have to confess to you, when they came to me, I wasn't sure if they were going to publish the article, but thankfully they did. So if you go on www.femalefirst.co.uk, www.femalefirst.co.uk, you search. They've got several stuff they do on there. You go on relationship and you search my name, Sam Opeche. You should see that article where I wrote about 10 reasons why you must be single at one point in your life. Okay, now this book, Don't Get Married Until You're Single, is full of wisdom. It's full of wisdom. It's full of information. It's full of facts that would help you not just to prepare for marriage, but also if you are already married, because like I said in my last broadcast, I come across a number of people who are already married but unhappy with their marriage. it always baffles me to find out that married people are some of the loneliest people I have come across. And I think this occurs because many people believe that marriage would hide their loneliness. Marriage would, cover their deficiencies, so to say. Now, I don't believe that anyone has a deficiency, but I know that people carry that mentality because they think that they need somebody else to complete them, without realizing that everything that they need to make them a complete person, everything that they need to bring out the virtues that is in them, to make them an asset for their prospective husband or wife, is already inside. As a matter of fact, you see, singleness is an inside job. It's an inside job. It's not really something that you do on the outside, because a lot of people put on makeup, they put on a face, they put on a personality, but until you start to interact with them, do you start to realize that they're empty inside. There is no substance. There is no, they're not an asset waiting to share their lives with somebody else. But singleness is an inside job. If I let me write that down. Let me write that down. Singleness is an inside job. It's all about what's happening on your inside. It's all about what you're doing with the potentials that are inside of you to make you ready for marriage. That's what it's all about. And you see, a lot of people I see don't understand this concept. The concept of singleness is really so misunderstood, And that's why a lot of people don't seek to enjoy that phase of their life that is called singleness, because they put on hold the life, the quality of life that they could have achieved in the now, in the moment. And they suspend it because they're thinking that I'm going to meet a Mr. Right. I'm going to meet a Miss Right. I'm going to meet this person, that person who looks like this, who looks like that, who lives in this kind of house, who drives this kind of car. We paint all of this interesting. To me, they're interesting, but based on fantasy, we paint all of these pictures of somebody that doesn't really exist. And that's why a lot of people, it seems they never can find this thing in court that they're looking for. Because they're focusing on the outside. They're focusing on a future, on an imagination that is based on fantasy. But this book will teach you to look inwards, to focus inside of you. There are so many virtues, coded in your strengths. The strength of your character, the strength of your person. There are so many virtues coded in that you could, through the life of singleness, gain access to it, and begin to cultivate it. You start to cultivate it so that in doing so, it is growing. It is growing. It is growing, so that within a period of time, you find that you are an asset. You are wholesome, waiting for somebody who will share this great and wonderful virtues with you, or you share with. And this is where a lot of people miss it. This is where they miss it because they're looking on the outside. Let me read you something from here. What page is it now? I wasn't actually planning to do that, but since I started to talk on this, let me just come here. Now, in chapter 5 of my book, Don't Get Married Until You're Single, I talk about avoiding costly mistakes. So the title of the chapter is Avoiding Costly Mistakes. And I said, the soul, in its pursuit of wholesomeness, passes through 3 intelligible stages of discernment. I say that again. The soul, in its pursuit of wholesomeness, passes through 3 intangible stages of discernment. The first is the perception stage, where we rely on impressions to help us attain judgment of a thing or a person. So we have a perception. The second is the observation stage, where our conclusions are based on more tangible notions. In other words, actual things. We observe actual things of what we see and not just on our intangible sense. Now, the third state, the book says, is the point of experience, which is a time when we personally undergo situations or events. So I'm saying effectively, and I'm saying this to come onto something about how a lot of people base their desire for a life mate. When I say life mate, I mean your soulmate, your husband to be or your wife to be. How a lot of people base this notion of who their husband or wife to be is. They base it on fantasies. They base it on unrealistic perceptions. Now, we go through these 3 stages of perception, observation, and experience. Now, I listed here some examples. Now, example number 1. Somebody will say, maybe a girl, has this perception that Mr. Right, the man she wants to marry, must be tall, must be from a good background, must be well educated, must know how to cook. And a lot of men say this, must know how to cook. They're looking for a woman who will cook their meals all the time. And this is just so unrealistic, especially in the day and age that we live in. So what stops you from learning how to cook yourself? Must be funny, must be a funny guy. As if a guy who isn't funny is not worth being a husband. Must be sociable. It must be earning well. What's your definition of earning well? And I think I said last week, it's not all about the social status of a man or woman. It's not all about what they earn. It's more about the content of their character, who they really are, what good are they bringing to the relationship? What quality are they bringing to the relationship? It's not just about money, because money comes and goes. Money comes and goes. She must not be too tall. He must be well groomed. They probably mean as well groomed as I am, well shaven and stuff like that. As if guys who wear beards, are not worthy to be a husband. Must be petite. These are some of the unrealistic notions that people have formulated. And unfortunately, this is guiding who they think a husband or a wife should be. And no wonder a lot of people make the wrong choice. They make the wrong choice because they base their perception on outward things that are on the outside. How about the guy inside? How about the girl inside? Is the man inside a quality man? Is the man inside an asset, or are they a liability? These are some of the things that the life of singleness would help you to identify. Now, I did a research once I was writing this book, and I discovered that there's a prominent dating site in the United Kingdom, and they did a survey of 40,000 ladies, 40,000 of their subscribers. They did a survey of this 40,000 people, and they were trying to find out what Mr. Right looks like. They were trying to ask these 40,000 ladies, what does Mr. Right look like? And see what they said. See what 40,000 women said Mr. Right look like. He's tall, at least 5 feet 10 inches. I think I qualify on that because I'm taller than that. He's dark. I'm dark. He's handsome. I think I qualify on that as well. He has money. Getting there. He has blue eyes. My eyes aren't blue. He owns his own property. He has a university degree. He drives a silver Mercedes. I mean, come on. He drives a silver Mercedes. What if I don't like silver color? What if my color is black? What if my color is blue? What if my color is pink? What? I mean, he doesn't smoke. That's a good one. He likes eating out. He likes the cinema. He hates football. I mean, come on. He hates football. I mean, how many men, I don't know how many guys who don't like football. But there you go. He's clean shaven. That one comes up again. He likes pets. He has never been married, but has had 3 serious relationships and no more than 6 sexual partners. I mean, he won't have any children. Can you imagine? What if I want children? He's medium built, I guess like me. He weighs about 12 stones and 7 ounces. He calls his mom several times a day. He's a good listener. He's well mannered. Now, these are 21 points that 40,000 women concluded makes up who a Mr. Right is. And I said in my book, no wonder Mr. Right is very scarce. No wonder he's so difficult to find, because people have built the notion of who Mr. Right is on fantasy. All of these things are fantasy. It's not real. We need to be looking for the man inside. If you're, let me show you something. Let me just do this very quickly, because I'm actually running out of time. Let me use a red pen. Now watch this. I'm going to draw a line. Let's try and make it a thick line. Okay? Can you see I've just drawn a line? I don't know if you can see this line. Okay? Now, this line represents a path. This line represents a path. A path. The line represents a path. Many of us walk through life and we walk through a path. Now, and the path is leading to fulfilled marriage. The path leads to fulfilled marriage. And what I want to propose to you is that if you're looking for a path, if you want a path in life that leads you to a fulfilled marriage, if your aim in life is to find a woman or a man, a partner who brings fulfillment in marriage, if that's what you're aiming for, the only path that will take you there, I submit to you, is called singleness. The only path that will lead you to fulfilled marriage in life is the path called. If you want to get to a place where you are fulfilled in your marriage, if you want to live in a home that is happy and harmonious, where you enjoy and you not endure your marriage, the only path that leads you down there is the path of singleness. Because like I said the last time, and next week I'm going to give a demonstration that would prove what I've just written up on the board. I said last week that it takes a fulfilled single to have a fulfilled marriage. If you're not fulfilled in your single life, I can almost guarantee that you would not have a fulfilled marriage. So the kind of life you live as a single will determine what kind of life you have as a married person. And you know what? It takes a single man and a single woman to make a single marriage, which is a complete marriage. Not because either of them were deficient, but because each of them had harnessed, they had cultivated their single life, and the virtues that is inside of them has come to the fore. And when they come together in unity, because as the scripture, the Bible teaches us, for this reason shall a man leave his father and mother and join to his wife, and the two of them become one flesh. They become one flesh. So it's not that anything was wrong with either of them, because I say that because people carry on with this, my better half notion. Going back to what I said earlier on, I read earlier on about perception. Many times the perception we have is skewed, is so obscured, is so discolored, and that is what affects the kind of marriage we have. If you go on thinking that you're deficient, so you're looking for a better half, you're looking for a man or a woman who is better than you, you've already entered that relationship with a mindset of deficiency, and you can never become an asset. That's why I am saying that the only path that will take you, if what you want is a fulfilled marriage, the only path that takes you there is singleness. Of course, don't forget, I was reading out to you the last time from this book again, 15 Truths about this you'll find in this book, 15 Truths you find in this book. And the first I said to you, you don't have to be married to be happy in life. Marriage is not compulsory. It's not. You don't have to be married to be happy in life. You can live a single life. Several people we know down the annals of history have lived a fulfilled life without, a partner, without a wife or a husband. So there are some examples of people like that. But if your desire is to be married and you want it fulfilled, the only path that takes you there is a life of singleness. So I encourage you to get this book. Let me close this broadcast by bringing you this story. This lady came to me for counseling, and she said, I tell her story in this book. I call her Rachel in this book. And she came and said that she's so depressed. She's almost at the point of, just ending it all, ending her life, because she couldn't find a reason for leaving. And I began to probe into what the problem was. Now, this lady is almost as pretty as my wife. She's so beautiful. Such a pretty woman. Her beauty is so striking. Yet, she was at the point of depression. Why? Because for the last 7 years, all she has ever heard from her husband is that she's ugly, she's fat, she's not a good mother, she can't take care of their children, how terrible she is, and all of those negative stuff has just been bombarding her life with. And she has come to believe that about herself. So despite her beauty, despite the gift that she has been given from God, she's at the point where she wants to end her life. Now, how did she come to this place? She married this guy who is, I think, about 14, 15 years older than she is. And she married this guy because she was raised to believe that marrying an older man guarantees joy in marriage, guarantees happiness in marriage. Basically, she was raised under this notion that an older man would take better care of her. That if she married an older man, the man was going to take care of her. So she married this guy who is about 14, 15 years older than she is. Again, going back to what I said, remember what I said? This book in chapter 5, maybe I read it back to you again so that it can where's the chapter when you need it? Come on now. Yeah, I got it. So I was telling you earlier on about the 3 stages of perception. I said the soul, in its pursuit for wholesomeness, passes through 3 stages, 3 intelligible stages of discernment. The first is the perception stage. So this lady thinking about, I want to have a happy marriage, I want to have an enjoyable marriage. Okay, what will give me that home that I can enjoy is marrying a guy who is far older than me, because I have this perception that if I marry an older man, he will take care of me. Unfortunately for her, her situation was very different. So she got married to this guy who is 14, 15 years older than her. And all she has ever got from the guy is abuse upon abuse, verbal abuse upon verbal abuse, how ugly she is, how fat she is, And when I look at this woman, she is so pretty. She's so beautiful. All she needed was a man who could compliment her, a man who could see the good in her, a man who could bring out the virtues that are in her, a man who could use words, good words, quality words, to harness the beauty that is inside of her. But she ended up with the wrong person because she went on the wrong path, which is that wrong notion that an older man would take better care of her. Well, I hope that all of this has made sense to you. Don't get married until you're single is out there for a reason. Go and get your copy. Go on Amazon and get your copy. You can also go on my publisher's website, www.troubadour.co.uk, and you can get a copy. You can also order from our Facebook page, The Marriage Workshop. You can order copies from there, and I tell you, it will